Right, so we're back in my beauty space, and today I'm going to be doing my foundation, concealer, declutter. So I've already decluttered a few items, so we're going to go through the items that I'm keeping and the ones that I'm decluttering. I already showed you in my organization video that I did a couple of months ago, and also in my last declutter video where I store my foundations and whatnot. Anyway, so foundations sit on top there, and then my concealers sit here. So as I said, I've already gone through this. So we're going to start off with the items that I'm decluttering, and then I'll show you the items that I'm keeping, talk about my thoughts about them, if I've tried them out, and all of that good stuff. If you're interested, please keep on watching and let's jump right into it. All right, like I said, I've already gone through, and this is like eyeliners, concealers, foundations, and all of that. So let's start off with foundations first. Okay, so I do have some foundations here, so let's kick it off. The first one is the XX Revolution foundation, and this is in shade FX 14.7. I reviewed this on my channel, including the luminous version of this foundation. This is the more mattifying version, and this is the more luminous version. Both of them I absolutely love. At the time, they reminded me of the Tom Ford foundations, especially from the packaging and the frosted glass. I do believe that this is one of Makeup Revolution's best foundation formulas, to be honest, because it worked so well for my skin, works well for dry skin as well. I've got oily combination skin, and both of them work really nicely. The coverage of this one is really full coverage. You only need a little bit, and it sits on the face for a long time. It works well with concealers. It plays ball. I love the luxe looking packaging. I do believe that Revolution spent some coins on this one, and the shade range when they came out was pretty decent as well, and they've since then extended, I believe. So the only reason why I'm decluttering, because I've got two shades here, is I've had one of them, I think this one. I've had this one since I reviewed it on my channel, and this is going a couple of years now. I did buy another one when I was running out, and both of them I've used. I just haven't been reaching for them recently. I've only got the tiniest bit left, so probably that's why. So I'm only decluttering because they're pretty old in my collection now, not because there's anything wrong with them. I do recommend these as drugstore foundations. At some point, I might pick up another one to put in my collection. I did enjoy it. If you want a more detailed review of this foundation and the entire collection, definitely check out my YouTube channel because I did go in depth. Again, with the packaging, the pump, all of it. I've used this foundation and I absolutely love it. The same goes for the luminous one. This one sits really nicely. Even as I've got oily to combination skin, it didn't feel oily, it didn't slip, it didn't break up on my skin, it didn't split or anything. It worked really well with other concealers as well. So yeah, I do definitely recommend this one. Only declutter I'm only decluttering this one especially because I haven't repurchased another one since I did the video. This is pretty much the same foundation, so that's pretty old, so it needs to go. You'll find that I do have a lot of Revolution foundations. That's because I enjoy their formula. The next foundation I've got is the Conceal and Hydrate foundation. And this again is one of my favorite foundation formulas from Revolution. This is in F13.2. And this one is a spin-off, if you like, or a flanker. If you're in the perfume industry, you know what this means. It's a flanker for the Conceal and and Defined foundation, the original, but this one's supposed to give you a more radiant, hydrating look. It's got hyaluronic acid in it. It's also full coverage. You can build it up and all of the good stuff that you get from the Conceal and Define. The only additional benefit is that it's got hyaluronic acid in it, which means that you've got the added benefit of additional hydration to your skin. And that came through. You could definitely tell the difference in terms of the hydration on the skin. This again is one of those foundations that work really well. I also liked their move from the doe foot applicator to more of a pump for this one. I know they've since then changed the Conceal and Define to a pump or given that as an option, but this one originally came with a pump, which again, I really, really like this foundation. I love the coverage. I love the fact that you could build it. I love the shade range that came with this one. It came in different shades, different tones, which just made it more versatile and very, easy to reach for as well. It's kind of like your no-brainer, pick it up, use the foundation, easy peasy, easy going with other concealers, easy going with powders and stuff as well. And if you wanted something more lighter coverage, you'd only use a tiny bit because, as I said, it's medium buildable coverage to more of a fuller coverage, which I personally love. But yeah, if you've got dry skin, this is what works really well because of the hyaluronic acid, but it still also works for oily skin. So I think this was really well done by Revolution. I'm decluttering this because I've only got the tiniest bit left and I haven't reached for this in a little while, but it's a fantastic foundation. Still sticking to Revolution, this is the OG Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. And when I say OG, this is really OG because this is the one with the doe foot applicator. Now I've had this particular one for a really long time. This is an F13 and it's really gone off. Like, I'm one of those foundation hoarders. I always feel like, I could get some more use out of it. I could do this, I could do that. But no, I've had this for too long. This by far is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, drugstore affordable foundation of all time. This is the Conceal and Define from Revolution. They originally came out with this one and the whole world went crazy. I know I was one of them, reviewed it straight away, fell in love. The same with the concealer, fell in love with it. Fell in love with the full coverage nature of it, fell in love with the shade range that they came out with. I fell in love with the consistency, the fact that it worked really well for my skin tone. It didn't sit in my pores. It just blended. It acted like a high-end foundation, which is one of the reasons why I absolutely love it. And I still have it in my collection, which you will see. I do love this foundation. This is a perfect shade for me, F13. So if you're looking to try this foundation and you're similar tone to me, try this F13 or try F13.2. Definitely go in store, swatch the consistency, see how you feel. Again, this is one of those foundations that I use a lot in my videos and I highly recommend. This bottle is just old, that's why it's leaving my collection. Another one from Revolution that I've got is the Conceal and Glow foundation. This is also in F13. This is the one that I wasn't sure what they were trying to accomplish with this one. This is supposed to be an illuminating foundation. Again, medium to full coverage. It's got vitamin C. It's got lotus flower extract. It's supposed to brighten your skin. The entire Glow range from Revolution came out with a bang. They had really amazing products, bronzing, highlighting products. I absolutely loved the range, but the foundation kind of just didn't hit the ground running, in my opinion. I didn't see the illuminating effects. For me, it performed almost like the Conceal and Hydrate that you would question why you would have the two. I was sent this one in PR and I did test it out and I do love the consistency. I do love the finish of it. It didn't give me an illuminated effect on the skin. It kind of felt more hydrating, more luminous, like the Conceal and Hydrate rather than illuminate my skin. So I was just kind of confused as to the difference between the two. But as a standalone foundation, if you weren't worried about the difference or whatever, the consistency of this is fantastic. As I say, it's medium to full coverage, so you can easily build this. Because of the nature of the foundation, I believe it works for dry skin, oily skin. I've got oily combo. I use it. I know people who have dry skin and use it. And I do love the Glow range from Revolution. I just was left confused as to, the difference between it. But it's got vitamin C in it, which again gives you brightening effects. So yeah, anyway, this is leaving my collection because it's old. It's an old bottle. Ever since it came out, this is pretty much the bottle that was sent to me. And I think I've since then purchased one and used it up. And I've also gifted a few to friends. So this one's leaving my collection because she's old. Next up, I've got these two foundations from Mary Kay, and this is the Mary Kay Time Wise foundation. I do have a review of this foundation. This is the Matte 3D foundation, and I've got it in two shades, Bronze W 150 and Bronze C 160. This is for combination to oily skin. I'm pretty sure they do one for dry skin, and for the most part, I did enjoy this foundation. It did give me a mattifying effect. It still left my skin looking luminous and radiating, in my opinion. You can check out the video. The shade was an issue for me. I know I had to test out another shade in the video. It's been quite a little while now, and to be honest, I've used it a few times. It does give you full coverage realness. Like, this thing does give you full coverage, and it didn't irritate my skin, and I do have sensitive skin sometimes, so this worked. It did its job. But one issue I have with Mary Kay, maybe it's different now, maybe times have moved on, but I do feel like Mary Kay products is not the most accessible. You need to have a consultant or someone who works with Mary Kay at your disposal for you to purchase it. I know you can go on the Mary Kay website, I think, and you could put in a consultant's number and purchase it and all of that good stuff. But I just feel like it's not accessible. I want to be able to go in store. I want to be able to test it out. I don't want someone to come to my house. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be able to play with the products before I commit. But that being said, the foundation itself did do the job. I just feel like the color, the range could have been better, and the tones, it just didn't work well enough for me to constantly reach for it. I felt like I would have to make it work, and so it just kind of put me off, and I haven't really used it since then. So yeah, it's just gonna leave my collection because I don't use it. Speaking of didn't work for me, this one is another one that didn't work at all, and this is the L'Oreal True Match Nude Plumping Tinted Serum. Now, I received this as part of PR from L'Oreal, and this is in shade Tan Deep. And if anyone from L'Oreal Paris watches my video, I do want to say a huge thank you for sending me your PR products, for allowing me to test it. But it defeats the purpose when I get sent light shades and I can't test it. I can't use it because they're too light. And I do email back. I do say, hey, this is not the right shade. I can't test it out. And, I get ghosted. And then I get sent another light shade. So sometimes it can get really frustrating and I end up gifting it. But this one, I couldn't gift it to anybody. Nobody wanted it. And I don't know why. I haven't seen a lot of reviews on this, to be honest. I've seen a few lighter skin tone people do reviews, but I haven't seen, like dark skin do a lot of reviews on this one. So anyway, this sat in my collection and sat and sat and sat. The color is just not my shade, and if I want to test a product, I want to use it before I have to kind of mix it with other foundations to make it work, because then it influences the consistency. I can't give you a full review of the actual product and the performance of it. So this was leaving the collection because I didn't get to use it, and I tried to get a darker shade. The city that I live in, you don't really get dark shades in store, and I didn't want to shade match myself online, so it just was a whole hoo-ha, and I just didn't bother with it. So this one's leaving because it's old now. And then the next ones that I've got are all from the Cypher. Now, I do have a video review on the Cypher base products. The Cypher is a Black-owned brand, and they use technology to shade match you to a T. So the reason why I have a lot of their bottles is because before they came out, I did do quite a lot of testing using their technology, testing out the foundation before it actually came out. So I do have a lot of their testers, but the one that I used that matched me 100% was, I think, this one. So this is completely finished. I've only got like the tiniest bit at the bottom, but they need to go now because I do feel like they've expired. It does give off a smell. You should really, I honestly urge you to look at the number of months. So on every foundation product or any product, you should be able to see a little jar with the number of months. That means that that's counting from the moment you open it. So from the moment I open this, I have 12 months to finish it. With the Decipher, they all had an expiry date at the bottom, which I really loved. So like this one, the expiry date is there. Oh, can't see it in the camera. Right here, the expiry date is there, including my skin code shade and all of that. As I said, I was testing out these products then. Here as well, the expiry date 2021. This was 2021 February. This one was 2022 because I was testing it out, and then this one was sometime this year. I can't remember when. I know I took it out of my collection when the expiry date hit. It's kind of rubbed off. And then these ones are the droppers. Again, they all have expiry dates. Some of them have come off because of how old they are. So basically, the coverage drops is supposed to give you full intense coverage. I sometimes mix it with the foundation to give me more of a fuller coverage. Although the foundation that I selected is full coverage, you can choose your level of coverage, which I absolutely love. You can customize it to a T. The coverage drops, I normally use it like a concealer, or I'll mix it with a foundation or just something, because I got the coverage drops in a slightly warmer tone, just so that for the months that I'm a little bit darker or redder from the heat or from the sun, I can mix it and give myself that particular shade. And I use this foundation range to the core, and I am going to repurchase a new one because I do love the consistency, I do love the coverage, I do love how it works. It's amazing. As I said, I have a video on my YouTube channel talking about it, but they have to go because they're past their expiry date, which is very sad to me, but yeah. If you are interested in the Cypher products, I do have a discount code MedeaJ, which will give you some money off. If you're interested in any of my discount codes, definitely check out my link in my description box that says links and discounts and stuff like that. You'd be able to see a list of the discounts that I have. But for these ones, definitely MedeaJ will give you some money off. Okay, so that's all the foundations. Let's do primers now. I do have quite a few. Alright, before we delve into the primers, let's quickly do some of the skincare items that I've got here. The first one is the Revolution 20% vitamin C super strength formula. It's a radiance strength serum. Now, I tried to use this. I honestly did. Anything with vitamin C in it, I love it because it means that it's going to brighten my darker areas over time. And I do have hyperpigmentation in some areas of my face. So I really like it. I also like the fact that it's a serum, which works really well with my skincare products. What I didn't like was the color. It's too intensely yellow. Like, I'm just gonna pump you can see it just doesn't look appealing, kind of looks gross. So it really, I know it might sound a little shallow, but it did put me off using it, and I just let it expire. So that's why it's leaving. I can't tell you if it works or not because I didn't even give it the light of day. It just really put me off after the first two uses. The next one I've got is the Pixi Vitamin C Brightening Perfector. Again, this is very similar to the Revolution in that the color and consistency put me off. This one, the consistency is like a white consistency. It just didn't look well. Like it didn't look really nice on my skin, and it didn't blend out as well. It kind of left a white cast, which reminds me of like a sunscreen, but it isn't a sunscreen. It's supposed to be a brightening perfector. So some days when I want to use it on my skin without putting any makeup on it, it would stand out like it would really stand it would stand out. It would just make me look like a ghost. So I stopped using it and then it expired. So if you have this, I'd be really interested to know if this leaves a cast on your face, because it did. The same goes for the under eye version. This is the vitamin C under eye cream. Now, I didn't like this because of the color. Again, this one is more of like a peachy color. But if I didn't want to wear foundation and I put this on, it left like a really orange peachy color. So again, Pixie, I'm not sure what you were trying to do with this range, but please fix the color because I'm pretty sure that the actual products themselves work really nicely, but it's not practical for everyday use. To be honest, I would have to wear foundation, I would have to wear makeup, which again, if I'm using products like this, I kind of want to let my skin breathe, and it's not letting me do that. Okay. All right, let's jump right into the primer. So the first one is the NYX Honey Dew Me Up primer, and this is supposed to be a dewy primer, dewy consistency from NYX Cosmetics. Now I did try to love this. This is kind of like a honey. I know it reminds me, there is a product that is kind of similar, so it's kind of like a honey consistency. It's got a little spatula for you to be able to scoop some product out and all of that. This didn't work for my oily skin at all, and I don't think it's targeted for oily skin, to be honest. I did pick it up out of curiosity. It does feel really nice on the skin. I do love the gold flakes in the primer, but it just didn't work for my skin. It didn't work with my foundations. It would make my foundation skip. It would make it grainy. It didn't sit well on my skin. My skin wouldn't absorb it. So for me, it just didn't work. Hence why you can see there's still quite a lot of product on this one. So it needs to go. On this, no, this is the one that's a dupe of this. I know there was something, but anyway. On the flip side, the 24K Gold Revolution Pro, which is Revolution's version of the Honey Dew Me Up. This one comes with a dropper, which, you know, it makes it easy for practical application. Again, it is quite a sticky looking type of consistency. You've got the gold flakes, you've got all of that good stuff. Again, this didn't work with any of my foundations. It would skip, it would look inconsistent, it would just not absorb into my skin. So I didn't use this much as well. This one is the MUA Makeup Academy Pro Base Mattifying Flawless Primer. If you've been following my YouTube channel for a while, you know you know that I love this primer. This is one of those gems, you know, like those drugstore finds, and I love this. It's got vitamin E, it's smooth, it's a really moisturizing consistency. It does dry down to a mattifying finish, and it works really well with a plethora of foundations. Like, there is no foundation that I used with this that it didn't work. So I love this. I used it to the very end, and I kept it just for the sake of this video so that I could show you. This is a very good primer. If you've got oily skin, definitely try this. It's moisturizing on the skin, but it does dry down to a matte finish. I recommend it. Super inexpensive if you can still get your hands on it, because again, I'm not sure if they still sell it, but if you can still get your hands on it, definitely I recommend you getting it. This one, however, I didn't particularly like, maybe because it's probably aimed at dry skin. This is the moisturizing primer, and I felt like this one worked. This one didn't work because, one, my skin wouldn't absorb it, which is really strange because it's a moisturizing primer, and two, my foundation would skip as well. This one also has vitamin A and vitamin E and also tea tree oil. I am interested to hear from ladies with, or I'm interested to hear from you if you've got dry skin and you've used this primer, does it work for you? Because it didn't work for me at all. And also, if you've got oily skin, combination skin, have you used this primer? Did it work for you? I just couldn't get this to work with any of my foundations, hence why there's still quite a thick tube compared to this one, which worked beautifully. So it's very strange. It is very strange when it's from the same brand and it's technically the same product, except one is moisturizing and the other one is mattifying. It's just really, really strange. But this one didn't work, so it's gonna leave. I've also got the Benefit Professional. This one I absolutely love. I love this primer. If you've got pores and your pores are very visible and your foundation kind of just sits in your pores and it doesn't look smooth, definitely try out this primer. Revolution also has something similar, which is the filter finish primer, I believe, the one that I've been using a lot in my videos, which I will show you. But this one is the OG. This one has a really nice clay type of consistency, and it just blends into your pores really nicely, and your foundation will sit really nicely on it. I use this to the end. I absolutely love this. It's look, it's finished, completely finished. It's fantastic. I think Benefit did a really good job, and I do believe that any skin type can use this. If you've got oily, if you've got dry, as long as you've got pores, this will completely fill that, and then your foundation can sit quite nicely on it. Another primer I would recommend is the Mary Kay foundation primer. This one has SPF 15 in it, and it says it's medium protection. It's great with a plethora of foundations as well. The only reason why I don't consistently use it is just because it just doesn't feel as moisturizing as some of my other primers, which I do like a moisturizing primer that kind of dries down to a matte finish. That's my preferred choice of primer. This one didn't feel as moisturizing, although it worked really well with my foundation, so hence why I would still recommend it. It works really well. Honestly, I can't fault it, and it helps to prolong the lifespan of your foundation, which is the purpose of a primer. It's supposed to prolong the wear of your products, the wear of your foundation, the wear of your base, and this one does the job. It just isn't my preferred consistency. These two, I could just be, I'm so angry with myself for letting them expire. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Brightening Youth Glow Anti-Aging Color Correcting Glow Booster, and the Wonder Glow Instant Focus Instant Soft Focus Beauty Flash. This one you can use as a primer. I was told anyway when I went into store that you could use this as a primer. You could also use this as like an illuminating primer if you like. It would brighten up your skin. It'll kind of make it look plump and really fresh and young looking, ready for your foundation. Both of which it just sat in my collection. I didn't use them, and so I just let them expire, which I'm really, really gutted. The funniest thing is I have another one of this because I went ahead and purchased another one because I do like the consistency of this, and I'm hoping to God that I don't allow that one to expire either, because I haven't really been using it. But just for some reason, I just don't reach for it, which is crazy to me because they are fantastic products and they do feel really nice on the skin. But yeah, they're leaving because they're expired, and yeah, it's time to send them to base heaven. Yeah. All right, let's do concealers and powder. Okay, let's start off with the powders because I've only got two. The first is the Colourpop No Filter Sheer Pressed Powder. Now, I've had this since it came out and I was able to get my hands on it. And honestly, this is one of those things that you see something online, you think, yes, perfect shade, and then it arrives and you go, what in the world? That's exactly what happened. So this is supposed to be shade dark, and I already knew I played myself the minute I saw the back of this, even before I opened it, and this is their shade dark. Like, Colourpop, explain yourself. How is this a shade dark? This is not even warm or medium at best. This is like tan or light. It's just really, really bad shade match. Hence why I haven't really used it. I mean, I've tried to use it to set underneath my eye. I've tried to make it work. From what I can tell, the consistency of the powder is pretty nice. The shade range is poor. It's poor, poor, poor. And I live in the UK, so I can't easily return Colourpop items. So this just sat and sat, and it's one of those products that I refuse to let it go because I thought I need to get my money's worth. But to be honest, this stuff needs to leave because every time I look at it, I get really irritated. Another one, this one's completely finished. I've only got the tiniest bit left and I can't even get it out just because of the way it's sealed. I can't pop this out for some reason. So, and I don't even know if Charlotte Tilbury does a refill of this one or if you buy the entire thing. But anyway, this is the Magic Powder Under Eye and Face Powder from Charlotte Tilbury in Tan Dark. This is pretty dark for what it is. Tan Dark, which, you know, that's such a massive shade range. Like you're saying, from tan to dark skin. I hope she's come out with other colors in between. I haven't checked. But at the time, I thought that was pretty appalling. I went into store. I had a whole consultation. This was the only powder that would match me. Like, everything else was super light. And I was thinking, what in the world? But luckily for me, it did work for my skin tone. I could use it to set my face. I couldn't use it to set my under eye just because of the color, the tone of it. It was just too warm. There was nothing yellow about it. It wasn't a yellow based powder. It was more of a red based powder. And so I could only use it to lightly dust around my face, which is literally how I've used this product. Now, the consistency of the powder itself is fantastic. It leaves kind of like a velvety, really soft, sophisticated type of look. I don't like the smell. It does have a smell. Don't know if I can still. Yeah, it does have a smell. I'm not a fan of the smell. Um, I just don't like scented powders, to be honest. But the consistency of this works, and I do love the packaging. Everything about it I did like. Don't like the shade range and don't like the powder, but everything else, sorry, don't like the shade range and I don't like the packaging. The fact that I can't take it off and get the rest of the powder out. But I do like the finish of this. Yeah. All right, let's do concealers. Now, concealers. The first one is the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Ultra Longwear Concealer in 5W. Now, I was gifted this by Laura Mercier and I used it to the very end. I love the shade range of this. I love the color of this particular one. I don't know what the W stands for. I don't know if they do like 5 warm and 5 cool or whatever. But this one kind of gives me a really, really cool tone effect. It's pretty light and it gives me kind of like a yellow based finish, which I love. Kind of like a yellow neutral based finish more like, and I absolutely love it. I love the coverage. I love the consistency. It gives me full coverage vibes. It works really well with a lot of my foundations, pretty much all of them. I've enjoyed using this. This is definitely one of those concealers that I would repurchase just because of how fantastic it is. I do love the applicator as well. It works really well and everything about it is a plus 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 in my opinion. Another one that I absolutely love is the Pat McGrath concealer in MD24. Now I have since then, well, I have since finishing this repurchased a new one, which I am still waiting almost a month and I still haven't received my order from the Pat McGrath website. I honestly, I don't understand what's going on with Pat McGrath. You order something and you don't even get it till God knows when. And I ordered my stuff way before the Black Friday sales. I made sure to get my shit in there before any of the sales kind of like really kicked off. And I'm still waiting over a month and, or rather almost a month, and I haven't got it yet. But anyway, we wait. I do love the consistency, love the coverage of this. It gives me very mature, sophisticated type of finish. It blends seamlessly. It dissolves into the skin. I love it. If you can get your hands on it, Pat McGrath does sales, so you can definitely wait to get your hands on it. Definitely get it. Or if you can go in store and test it out, definitely do. I love the applicator. You only need a tiny bit at a time. As I say, it's full coverage, so I love it. A cheaper alternative is the Conceal and Define from Revolution. I know I don't have to say much about this concealer because we all know it, we all love it. And this particular shade is C12.5. So I normally go for this when I want more of like a highlighted effect. If I want my skin tone, I go for C13. But if I want something more highlighted, I go for this one. Again, this is just completely finished. I love it. It's a fantastic drugstore alternative. Super inexpensive. Another one that I've got is the Revolution Eye Bright Illuminating Under Eye Concealer with vitamin C, and this one is in shade Caramel. There were other colors in this particular one that I remember and I used them. This one wasn't my shade, hence why it sat in my collection. It was too red, too dark, and I couldn't use it as a concealer, and I don't really color correct, so I've just left it. So it's kind of just expired. There is nothing wrong with this formula. I absolutely love it. I do have a review of this as well, so definitely check out my channel, but this one just wasn't my shade, and so it just expired. And then the OG of all OGs, we've got the LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer. I love this one. This is in shade Fawn, the cult favorite. Every brown girl, every black girl uses this. I love it. If you need inexpensive, this is the OG of all OGs. This is the foundation of concealers. I love it. It's so inexpensive. Consistency is fantastic. You do get medium buildable coverage, and it's full-on coverage if it's what you're looking for. Love the shade range. Love this particular color. It works really well with my skin tone. Definitely something I would definitely pick up again because it's just one of those concealers that, you know, it's like your go-to no-brainer type of concealer. Next, I've got eye stuff. So I'm not going to bore you and go through each one. I'm just going to speak about the bigger items. So this is my Inglot 77. This is dried. This is finished. I have this in my collection. I always have this gel liner in my collection. I have one that I'm using currently. which I need to find, but I do have one that I'm using currently. I also love using the Ofra one. So this is the Feline eyeliner from Ofra, which I love as well. But this one is a cult favorite. It's the blackest gel eyeliner. It's the blackest gel eyeliner that I know. Inglet definitely did something with this one, but it's completely finished. And then I have a few eyelash glues. This one from Huda is the worst eyelash glue that I've ever used, and this particular one is the sticky tack lash glue. This is different from the black one, different from this one. All right, so this is the sticky one, the one that never dries down completely and it just stays sticky on your lashes. I hate it. It's the worst the sticky whatever it is eyelash glue in the world. I tried to use it several times. It just doesn't work. Sticks your eyelashes together. It's just so uncomfortable, makes your eyes water, and it destroys your lashes. I hate it. This one is another one I didn't really like. This is the Swede clear white adhesive for lash strips, and again, this one just doesn't dry down really nicely. You still see the white. I don't like it, and it doesn't even stick that well. This is the Tarte clay paint liner. Love this. Love this. If you're a makeup artist, this is very hygienic because you've got kind of like a dip here where you can just press out the product and then use your brush and wipe off the rest. I enjoyed using this. It's a very black, very matte eyeliner gel or eyeliner cream or whatever you want to call it, but it worked really well from Tarte. I love that. And then I've got this one from Revolution. This is like your felt tip eyeliner. Again, this is one of those products from Revolution, those gems. It works really well. I'm not a huge fan of eyeliner tips, felt liners, or what do you even call them, but this one works really well, and it's pretty black, and it just works really well on eyeshadows and on eyes as well. So this one I finished. Another product here is the Control Freak eyebrow gel from NYX. This didn't keep my brows in place at all. It just brushed my brows and made them look wet, but it didn't keep my brows in place. So this just needs to leave. And then everything else are like eye pencils. So I've got some from Urban Decay that are pretty old, some from Wonder 2 Cosmetics. I've got Mary Kay here. I've got Revolution. I've got a few brow pencils from Bella Pierre, which I used, and they're pretty good as well. Completely finished. I've also got a brow pencil from MUA Academy, which again, pretty good. Worked really, really well. They're those twist up micro precision type of brow pencils. And then I've got another liquid liner from Ofra, which again works really well. Very black, very intense. So they are all going into the trash because they're either finished or expired. And please do go through your eye pencils and your lip pencils because you don't want to get sick. You don't want to get an eye infection. When you're decluttering your stuff, definitely make sure that you look at your eye products as well, especially your mascara. Throw them away. Speaking of mascaras, I go through my mascaras a lot and I don't tend to keep them. I just chuck them and I pick up a new one. So let's go through my foundation, concealer, and powder, and maybe primer quite quickly that I'm keeping, just so that you know what I've got and I can share some of my thoughts, especially on the ones that I've used. So yeah. Okay, so I've spread out all my foundations that I've got. I don't have the biggest collection of foundations because I try to be mindful of the foundations that I have, and I'm trying to use up my products. So I'm not the type of person that goes out and buys the latest foundation and stuff. I get most of my stuff in PR, and when I'm running out, I'm the type of person that sticks to a particular foundation that I love. Speaking of sticking to a particular foundation that I love, let's start off with the OGs. So I've got the MAC Studio Fix foundations. These have been a staple in my collection for years, and I've always been either an NC50 or NC55 kind of girl. So the shade that I originally have is NC55, and I got this early last year, but then I went into store and I also matched myself online. I answered Max questions, and it came out that I would be a C55. And I know somehow in the bottle kind of looks a little bit green, but I tell you something, the match of this on my skin is amazing. This is great, but this is perfect. So I've got shade C55 and NC55, both of which I absolutely love. I use this foundation. If you know, you know. It's got SPF 15 in it, full coverage, easy reach. I don't have to think about it. I know it will work. I know it will look fantastic type of foundation. I absolutely love this. Don't knock it until you try it. MAC still makes one of the best base products on the market, and I am in love with their base products, and I think I'll always have this one in my collection. So these two are definitely ones that I reach for a lot. And then another one that I've still got in my collection is the Huda Beauty, what's this one? Full Filter High Coverage Cream Foundation in 430N. Now, this is not the right shade for me. Absolutely not. I received this in PR and it's definitely not the right shade. So I kind of always have to make this work. And I normally do so by mixing in a CC cream from or tinted moisturizer from Laura Mercier. But the actual foundation itself is full coverage. It does really look nice on the skin. It does give me a luminous type of effect on my skin. It works well with my primers. Like, I don't have a problem with this foundation except for the shade range. I've heard quite a lot of people don't like this particular one. I've heard it's been reformulated. I don't know if I've got the reformulated one. I honestly don't know too much about Huda Beauty foundations because, to be honest, this is the first and only Huda Beauty foundation that I have. And so it isn't something that I reach for. I didn't try out the sticks. I haven't tried out the concealer. Haven't done any of that. But I will say that I do enjoy the finish of this one, and I just need a better shade. Like, this shade is gingerbread, so I think one shade down might be perfect for me. But I mean, so far I make it work. We're already here, so yeah, I make it work. And then, since I've already mentioned these kind of in passing, so this is the Laura Mercier tinted moisturizers. These are oil free. I've got shade mocha and shade cacao, and I love these. These are like easy reach, natural type of finish. It's got SPF 20 in it. It gives you a nice tint to your skin. It doesn't give you any coverage. Like, it's not gonna hide any imperfections or any blemishes or pigmentation, but it will give your skin some color, some tint, just to make it look more awake, more alive, that type of effect, which I appreciate. You know, you don't always want to wear foundation every day. There's some days that, you know, you're running around doing errands, or you just want to have the most natural feeling, natural looking day. These are so light coverage. They feel fantastic on the skin, and I do like to use them. This one in the winter is perfect for me. This one is too dark all year round anyway. So when it gets to like the summer months that I get a little bit darker, I like to mix this one into this. But yeah, I do like this for the intended purpose. I think it's fantastic. All right, so next up, I've got these ones from Ofra. So now Ofra this year came out with the Absolute Cover foundations, and I was one of the beauty influencers that they used to kind of show the diverse range of shades that they came out with. So my shade was 8.5, or I say was, like it's yeah, my shade is 8.5, which is the most used one, which is this one. I absolutely love this foundation because, again, it's one of those silky, full coverage, well, medium full coverage foundations. You can definitely build it up. It's got peptides in it. I just love the consistency. I love the packaging. It's smooth. It works well with a lot of my primers. I don't have an issue with this. I've never had a breakout. I love this foundation. You can see that it's pretty well used and loved. And then for the months that I do get slightly darker, I reach for the 9 because the 9 has more of like a red undertone to it. And again, it's been used quite a lot because I use this pretty much throughout the summer months. It has a light feel to it, so it doesn't feel heavy or cakey on the skin. It feels really, really comfortable. Like, I kid you not, this is a fantastic foundation. And then the shade that I've got here is an 8 because I might get lighter. You know how winter is, so I like to have the lighter shade just in case I do get lighter and I need something to use. But yeah, all 3 are staying. I've given out the other shades to friends and family just so that they could test it out, and they all love it. So if you want to test out Ofra or Ofra foundation or anything from Ofra, definitely use my discount code MEDEAJ and you will get, I think it's 20% off or 25% off. I think it's 20% off your shop. So yeah, I love this. I think these will always stay in my collection just because of how amazing they are. And then I've also got the Maybelline. These are the Super Stay foundations. So these are the 30-hour foundation, the 30-hour wear foundation. These are the Super Stay active wear foundations, and I've got it in 60, 70, and 75. Same idea as the Ofra Absolute Cover Foundation. I like to have one for when I am very light, which you can see has been well used. I do mix these two together to give me kind of like what 65 would be. So shade 65, just because this has more of a yellow undertone, so it has more of a red undertone. So when I do mix it, it looks really, really nice on the skin. But then when I do get darker, I fluctuate between these 2 shades because I do get pretty dark in the summer months. But again, this is one of those full coverage, long wear, and I mean long ass wear foundations. You do get your money's worth with this one. Drugstore alternatives. I do want to say that 2022, the drugstore, the more affordable brands have been coming and killing it with the launches. So this one was one of my favorite foundations, definitely. I did get a lot of use out of it, and I do still get a lot of use out of it. Perfect for all year round. I use it in the summer, winter. It's fantastic. I love this foundation range. I think really inexpensive, definitely worth having a look at. Moving on, I also still have my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. This is one of those full coverage foundations that I continue to buy into my collection. This is a matte finish similar to the Super Stay Active Wears, also matte finish. This one's pretty full coverage as well. The shade I've got is Mahogany. It works really well. It's a perfect match for me, and it's just, yeah, I love it. It's full coverage. It's one of those foundations. I've used it up a few times now. I want to say this is my 3rd bottle, and I keep repurchasing it because it is a fantastic foundation. As I said, I'm one of those people that if I'm looking for a foundation, I would rather purchase something I've tried, used, and loved than try something new, unless it's in PR. It's just my nature. I like comfort. I like to use things that I know, but if I do get the opportunity to test out, I will definitely test it out. But this one I've repurchased a few times, and I do highly recommend. Another one that I like to have in my collection for mixing purposes is the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Foundation. And I say for mixing purposes because I have tried a few times. I have honestly tried a few times to find my shade. But let me tell you something, shade matching yourself with L'Oreal, I find is very difficult for me. I don't know what it is, but I find it very difficult. I need to be able to see it in person to shade match shade match myself, but unfortunately the city that I live in, shade matching is not the best. They don't have full range of products. They really have only light skin, to be honest, and a few dark skin here and there. And even when I try to use websites to kind of guess my shade, or I watch people, I always still get it wrong, especially for this range. I don't know what it is. So anyway, I like to have 10D/10W in my collection for mixing purposes. So if I've got a really light foundation that I need to kind of, make a little bit darker, maybe a little bit warmer, I like to use this. And you can see that I've used this quite a bit because it works really well. It works really well with a lot of foundations. It's super blendable. It matches, kind of makes the color match you perfectly. I don't know what to say, but I just feel like this is a good mixing foundation. So I like to have it in my collection, especially for that purpose. Now this year as well, I did test out the In Real Life filter foundation from Revolution. This is a long wear foundation. It says it's buildable, it's breathable, it's a soft matte finish, 16-hour wear. This is shade F13.7. I have used this several times and I've given a review on my TikTok to tell you what I think, and even a wear test as well to show you how it works throughout the day. And I absolutely love this foundation. I love this foundation. Revolution continues to hit it. When it comes to foundation or base products, I am in awe of their genius. I just love it. I feel like it's a super inexpensive foundation, easy reach, long wear, works well with primers, works well with other concealers, buildable coverage, and it's just perfect for my oily skin. And I was lucky enough to get gifted from Revolution 2 shades. So I've got a backup of 13.7 and I've also got 13.5, which I'll probably test in like now in the winter months, because this one's slightly dark for me now. But in like the summer months, it's a perfect shade match, which is when I picked this up. So honestly, this is such a good foundation. I can't fault it. So if you're not following me on TikTok, definitely do, because I do have a review on there. It's also oil free, which makes it perfect for like my skin type, which is oily combination. So I love it. I've got nothing negative to say about this particular foundation. Speaking of nothing negative to say, I like to have the Juvias Place I Am Magic foundations in my collection. I do feel like Juvias Place still tops it as one of, if not the most high coverage foundation brands, honestly. Excuse me. I just wish they were a little bit more accessible here in the UK. I know that Superdrug is slowly stocking them and they've got the concealer, but I don't see the foundation. I don't see the foundation. I want the foundation because I always have to pay customs and all of that. And when I shop from Juvias Place, like I bite the bullet. I go, right, I need to get everything that I need because I'm gonna pay customs, so I might as well do it once. I can't do that. That's not accessible. So yeah, anyway, the shades that I like to pick up, I like to pick up 3. So I like to pick up Gabon, I like to pick up Burkina, and I like to pick up Zaria. Those are my favorite shades. And because again, they work for when I'm darker, when I'm lighter, and in between. And yeah, I love it. I've got nothing else to say. Juvia's Place makes the best full coverage foundations out there. Like, I'm waiting for a brand to top them. I'm yet to see. For some reason, I can only find one of this. I know I have 2 of this particular foundation. But anyway, this is the Morphe Broad Spectrum Glow Stunner Hydrating Tinted Moisturizer. I have a review of this. This has SPF 30, so you can definitely check out my review. This particular shade is Deep Glow 13. And again, I love this. It's a tinted moisturizer. Again, it's not going to give you the full coverage, but this one is hydrating. It will kind of make your skin look really healthy. You can build it if you like to kind of give you a light coverage type of effect. It's not going to be medium or full coverage or anything. You could definitely watch my review. But for what it is, I absolutely like it. I think it's a great, easy reach type of foundation, and hence why I like to keep it in my collection. It's a tinted moisturizer. I don't know why I keep calling it a foundation, but it's an easy reach tinted moisturizer, which I love to have in my collection. Another one that I love to have is also the Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer, but in this one, this has SPF 30 in it, and this is in shade 5N1 Walnut. This is a perfect shade match for when my skin is just normal, it's not darker or lighter. I love to use this. Again, gives you that kind of natural effect, which I love. While we're on Morphe, I've also got these two from Morphe. These are the Filter Effect Soft Focus Foundations. These are medium to full coverage, and I've got mine in shade Filter Rich 26 and Filter Rich 28. I have a review of this foundation on my channel as well, and again, I like it. It's a medium buildable coverage foundation. Works really well with my skin. Have no issues with it. Definitely check out that video. I like it. It works for me. So, I mean, what more can I say? I don't want to repeat everything I've said in the video, so definitely go check it out. I will have them linked, hopefully, or linked in the description for you to go watch. Just for, for your viewing pleasure. Another one that I do have a review of as well is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. When this came out, there was a lot of controversy, I guess, if you want to call it. People thinking it wasn't worth the money because of the hefty price tag. We know Pat McGrath, like, her products have a hefty price tag, and people were kind of like dissecting everything to do with this foundation. And I did hold off getting this. I didn't get it until last year, maybe my birthday last year. I can't even remember at this point, but I did treat myself to it, and I haven't looked back. I do like this foundation. I feel like it gives you a nice sophisticated type of coverage, nothing too full coverage, but also still covers your imperfections to a decent level, which I like. I like the feel of it. I love that it feels hydrating on the skin. It feels nice. It feels nice to wear. It doesn't feel heavy or cakey or anything. It just works, It's just one of those foundations that works. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it splitting. I don't have to worry about it not working with my primers. It just works. So I've got nothing negative to say. The shade that I've got is Medium Deep 24, which I went into store to get shade matched, including the concealer, and it's a perfect match for me. These as well, I recently got, and I unboxed them in my last, I want to say 2 hauls ago. This is the Uoma Sharon C collection, which you can pick up at Superdrug. So Uoma Beauty's owner, Sharon C, came out with this range. They're so inexpensive. You've got foundations, you've got cream blushes, cream bronzer, lip products. Amazing. Eyeshadows as well. I've tested these two. Again, they are very easy, flawless looking foundations. They initially apply like tinted moisturizers, but then you can build them up. It does have vitamin C in it. What is that? It does have vitamin C in it, and I do apologize if you can hear like banging. It's my washing machine that's making that noise. But anyway, it does have vitamin C. You do get 30 ml of product. I do like this. It's again one of those easy foundations. It does apply like a tinted moisturizer, I'm not gonna lie to you, but you can build it up. The shades that I've got is Brown Sugar T4 and Brown Sugar T5. So one is slightly lighter than the other, but I've used both of them, and I do like this foundation. I think it's inexpensive and it's an alternative if you want this coverage, which again is medium to full coverage. If you can continue to build it, then definitely go for it. I will say that it's a long-lasting type of finish. I wouldn't say that it will disappear. I do feel like you will get a good long couple of hours, at least 6-7 hours wear, which is fantastic for the nature of this. And you do get kind of like that natural finish, which I do like. It's lightweight, it's easy to wear, all of the good stuff that I like in my foundations, these ones have. Speaking of, next up, I've got these ones from Warmer Beauty, and I do have, let me move these back. Move it back. I do have the older bottle, which is this one, and to be honest, I don't even remember what the shade of this one is, but I still use this foundation. I absolutely love the coverage of this foundation. This is the Warmer Beauty Say What Weightless Soft Matte Foundation. I've used it in several videos on my channel, but they recently came out with this one, which is newer packaging, improved formula, I guess. I know there were a lot of selling points, all of which I showed on my TikTok, but it says 99% found a perfect shade match, 95% said it's second skin or lightweight, all of which I agree. And dermatologically tested, paraben-free, talc-free, cruelty-free, vegan. And this is still the Weightless Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation. So yeah, they came out with a newer packaging, frosted glass. To be honest, the packaging is pretty similar, just the colors are different. And the stickers on these ones, you can basically see the shades a lot better as well. So the two shades that I have is Brown Sugar T1N, which I believe is closer to this one somehow. I really can't remember what shade that is. And this is Brown Sugar T1C as well. Maybe these two are close. But anyway, I love this foundation. I love the new packaging. I love all my beauty-based products. I think they work really well, including the concealers. I think they're fantastic. So I've got them both in my collection, and I'm very happy. The last two, and then I'm going to show you the one that I actually haven't even tried. This one is the Stila Hide and Cheek Fluid Foundation. This is not my shade. This is in shade Deep 3. Oops. This is in shade Deep 3, and this is definitely not my shade. It is darker. In the summer months, it's close to my shade, but it's still really, really dark. I could definitely use a lighter shade to this one. But all the same, this is a really good foundation. I will say that it's a little bit oily, but it still performs really, really nicely. And I do really like the coverage of this. It is buildable, but I do find it to be oily. It's not something I would use in the summer months. I would definitely use this more in the winter months just because of the oily nature of it. And then I've also got the Conceal and Hydrate in F13. I did mention that I have this in my collection because I do love this foundation. I did order the Conceal and Define foundation, which should be coming soon, because I always like to have that one in my collection as well, especially if I want to do like a drugstore or affordable makeup tutorial or something. I always like to have options. But yeah, you've heard everything I have to say about this foundation. Great radiance foundation, medium full coverage. This is F13. And then I also have these foundations that I am still yet to test, which I should be ashamed of myself. And this is the KVD Good Apple Foundation. I am still yet to test these, and I don't know what the delay is. Honestly, I don't know what's stopping me from trying this out. I do need to test it out. I've got TN074, TN066, and 074 twice. So hopefully we will test this out in 2023. But these ones are the only foundations in my entire collection that I still haven't used, which is shameful. I know, shameful. So I'm going to go ahead and put these foundations back, and then we'll just quickly go through my concealer, powders, and primers. I'm going to be super quick because I don't want this video to be stupid long, so let's go. Alright, so for my concealers, it's pretty conservative. I haven't got that many, to be honest, because as I said, I'd like to get through my products before purchasing new ones. So with the exception of my Pat McGrath concealer that's coming, this is all I have. So here I've got a backup of the supersized Conceal and Define concealer. This is by far my favorite concealer from Revolution, and this is in C12.5 because I like to use this to highlight. So this is a backup shade. I currently have C13 for when I want a more natural finish, nothing highlighted, just like my skin tone. And then I have 12.5 that I'm currently using. And I also have the smaller version in 13.2. Just out of curiosity, I just want to see how dark it is or what the color is like. Again, it's still the Conceal and Define, just in the smaller size. And also from Revolution, I have these concealers, which I love, and I do have a review on my channel. This is the Revolution Pro Ultimate Radiant Under Eye Concealer, and I've got this in shade C13, which is my perfect match. I've got C12, which I use to highlight, and I've got C14 because, again, I'm curious. I want to see what that looks like. And I haven't opened C14 yet, but I do have a review of this. This is one of the best. Like, honestly, Revolution concealers are fantastic. So this one has really good coverage. It feels really hydrating under the eyes. It has a really nice full coverage finish to it, and it is mattifying, not drying out mattifying, just really, really nice under the eyes. So I like to have those. Those are my like staple go-to concealers. And then recently I've been using the KVD concealers, and this one is in shade Tan 167, and I've got Tan 169. So one is slightly darker than the other. This one is slightly darker, so that gives me more of a natural finish, or if I wanted to conceal. And then I've got the other shade to highlight, which I love to use the two of them. I love the applicator on this one. It's kind of like a shoe or a boot, which I really, really love. I do love the coverage of this concealer. It's something that I would repurchase. I have been testing it out. It does feel really full coverage, really hydrating, very easy to blend out. You do have some time to blend it out. It isn't just going to dry up on you. It's very creamy, and I do love the coverage of this as well. And it sets really nicely with powder. Not with the KVD powder, which we'll get to in a second, but with any other powder. I've used it with the Laura Mercier, I've used it with the Makeup Revolution, I've used it with the Tarte, all without any issues. So I do have a backup of the concealer, and I've got it in 167 as a backup. So I'm very excited to have that. And then I also have my Tarte Tan Deep Sand 47S. This is the Shape Tape concealer. This is the concealer that Makeup Revolution supposedly dupes. I would say I prefer the Makeup Revolution, so I don't even know if it's a dupe or just a better product. But this is not my shade, so I use this to highlight because it's super light, hence why I still have it. I don't use it too often. I only use it when I want a really, really bright under eye. I love the consistency. It's just a little watery for me. I wish it was a little thicker, and it does take some time to really blend out. It isn't my favorite formula, to be honest. I prefer the Makeup Revolution one. And then I've got this one from L'Oreal. This is the Perfect Match concealer. I haven't used this. This is just one of those products I received to test, and I just haven't tested it, so I can't really share much about that. And yeah, to be honest, that's my conservative concealer stash. I don't have any plans to get any other concealers other than the Pat McGrath, but obviously as and when I do, I will definitely be showcasing them on my channel. So let's move on to primers. Primers, again, is one thing that I try not to waste. So I try to make sure that I use them, or at least I give them a good go before deciding if they don't work or not. This one is definitely one of my favorites, and this is the Laura Mercier Pure Canvas Primer. It's blurring, it's silicone free, it's mattifying. It works really well with my foundations. It gives me kind of like that smooth canvas, that base for my foundation to sit on as well, and it also mattifies, so it's kind of like a 2-in-1. It's something that I use quite often. I absolutely love it. It's great for my oily skin. I love it more in the summertime. In the wintertime, my skin can feel a little bit dry if I don't moisturize properly, but I still use it in the wintertime. I just make sure that I skin prep differently. So this one is new. This is the Uoma Sharon C, because now I told you that she came out with the Sharon C range, which you can get in Superdrug. I haven't tried this out. This is pretty new. It's one of the primers that one of the products that I recently hauled, so I haven't used it yet. Is the Prime to Glow Skin Perfecting Illuminating Primer. So more to come on that. I also have the Thrive Cosmetics Brilliant Face Brightener. This again is another illuminating primer. Can't really remember what I feel about this one. I haven't really used it as much as I should, so probably hence why I'm keeping it to really test it out some more. One that I definitely use and I definitely love is the NYX Shine Killer Primer. Again, this is one of those mattifying primers, great drugstore alternative. It works really well for my oily skin. It keeps the shine at bay, keeps the oils at bay, and my foundation sits really nicely on it. So I use it around my T-zone area. I don't really use it all over my face just because I don't want my skin to be too dry. But I do use it in areas where I get really, really shiny, and it works really nicely. The concealer I was talking about that kind of has like that clay texture, almost like the Professional from Benefit, is the In Real Life Skin Filter Pore Blur Primer from Makeup Revolution. This is the range that came out with the In Real Life foundation. I've used it with the foundation. I absolutely love it, but I've also used it with other foundations, and it works really well. It gives you that kind of smooth canvas, blurs out your pores, and it makes it's just a really good base for your foundation to sit on. You can see I've used it quite a lot. It does have a color to it, kind of like a really, really light cream color to it, but honestly it melts into the skin, so it looks really, really good on me. One that I've tried a few times, but I've left it in here to try some more, is the Dermalogica Skin Perfect Prime. This is an age smart primer. It's got SPF 30 in it, and I do like the idea of this primer. I do feel like it leaves a white cast, which can be a little bit off-putting, and sometimes it feels like it's dragging my skin a little bit. So I do want to test this out a little more, hence why I've left it in my collection to test. But so far it's not winning me over. I need to try it some more to really see how I feel. One that will forever win me over is the Tarte Smoothing Primer. I always use this around my smile lines. It's one of those pore filling primers that just works really well with foundations. It's just a fantastic base. This is the one that I'm currently using, which is down to its last leg. So I did pick up a new one from Tarte. This is one of Tarte's best products, in my opinion. This Timeless Smoothing Primer, I just feel like it does exactly what it says, and it works really, really well for me. A cheaper alternative to that primer, however, is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. And the difference for me between the two is that this one can come off a little bit oily on the skin, whereas the Tarte primer, once you apply it, it's matte. It just blurs the skin, fills the pores, and you're good to go. This one, I feel like I need to apply it and give it a little bit of time to kind of like work its magic, but still all the same, it works really well. You can see I've used it. It's not something that I don't like. I do love it as a product, as a cheaper alternative, but I find that I can definitely tell the difference between the two, but I still like the primer. I've also got this one from Lottie London, which is new. I haven't even opened the packaging. And this is the Illuminating Coconut Primer. Again, I haven't here. So next up, I've got my Ofra primer. This is the silicone priming or silicone primer gel. And I haven't used this one yet. I hauled this in my recent video, but I just haven't used it yet. Love the packaging though. Really nice packaging, and I can't wait to test this out. This one I've used and I love. This is the Plastic Boy collaboration with Makeup Revolution, and this is it's like a skincare type of primer, which I love. It's a skin adhesive primer, so which means the base really sits on it. I do have a review including the other products on this range, from this collection, up on my channel if you're interested. But I really do love this primer. This sticker goes all around, but I would say that my product is pretty much here because I've been using it religiously. It's a really nice primer that I think would work all year round. It's got skin loving ingredients. My skin feels supple, really ready. You know, when your skin has been fully prepped to an inch of its life, ready for the foundation. That's kind of how I feel with this one. So it's a really good collaboration with the Plastic Boy. I think he did a really good job. And then these two are my favorites from Revolution Pro. I always have them in my collection. This is the Hydra Matte Primer. It works pretty well with a lot of my foundations. It gives you kind of like a hydrated but mattified base ready for your foundation. I haven't had any problems with any of my foundations, and it's just one of those easy reach primers that I don't really have to think too much about. I can use it all year round and it works pretty nicely as well. It feels really hydrating on the skin and almost feels like a moisturizer when you apply. Just give it a couple of minutes to dry down, do its thing, and then it works. This one I've left in here because I do want to try it out a little bit more before I completely make up my mind. This is the I Heart Revolution Tasty Watermelon Primer, and so far it's supposed to give you like a dewy finish. I know that, but so far it just doesn't do anything else but just leave my skin feeling wet. So I'm trying to test it out with a few other foundations, a really matte foundation, to see if it will give me kind of like that dewy effect rather than just like wet skin, wet sticky skin for that matter. So I'm still on the fence with this one. And then obviously I've got my Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Primer, which I talked about in my review video when I purchased this, including the foundation and all the other products that I purchased for my birthday. And I actually really do like this primer as well. It gives you kind of like skin loving ingredients as well. Feels like a moisturizer on the skin, and it sits really nicely with my foundations. I don't have a problem with this one, and I can use it all year round as well. So that's pretty much all my primers. All right, let's run through my powders really quickly. I've got the Thrive Cosmetics powder. This is the Filtered Effects Soft Focus and HD Setting Powder. Translucent matte finish, and I quite like this. It's a nice white powder. It looks like that. And it works. I like it. I like the finish of it. Isn't my favorite, but it does do the job. It does work. And then I've got my Pat McGrath powder, which is on its last leg, to be honest. And this is in shade light medium 2. And I do like this powder. It works really nicely with the concealer, with the foundation. I quite like it. No problem there. This is by far my favorite powder. This is the Mercier translucent powder. I've purchased it a few times already in my collection, and I absolutely love this powder. This is my go-to powder for everything. I set my face, I set my under eye, I set everything with it, and then I can go in with a more of my color face powder to kind of just like bring the color back to my skin. But in terms of setting concealer, even baking, this is by far my favorite. I also have the Tarte Shape Tape Setting Powder in Translucent Tan Deep. Again, I haven't seen this on the Tarte website, so I do want to believe that this is discontinued. But this is a really, really nice loose powder, and I like to use this all over my face, sometimes underneath my eyes, depending on how dark skin I am. And then I've got the Revolution Banana Powder. This is a baking powder. This will always be in my collection. It's a very inexpensive, affordable drugstore alternative. It gives you that nice silk. I like it like a, not silk, matte finish underneath the eye with a little bit of a yellow undertone to it. So I do like this. And this is the older packaging, which is on its last legs, to be honest. And then I've also got the Beauty Bakery flour powder. This is in cassava flour. This is not my favorite powder, but I mean, it's okay. It does the job. It's just not my favorite finish. And sometimes it can skip. It can make my concealer skip a little bit, and it doesn't give me that kind of like smooth set underneath the eye. So I don't use it as much, but I'll keep it in here because I like to get my money's worth. And then I've got the like a compact version of the Tarte powder in Tan Deep Neutral 47N. Again, I haven't seen this on the Tarte website, so I don't know if it's discontinued or if they're still using it. Oh, sorry, still selling it, but I do like this. It also comes with a puff, which I think is not there. Oh, no, it's there. Actually, I haven't used it, but yeah, it also comes with a puff. I like to use my own. This one was my favorite for 2022, definitely. This is the Uoma Beauty Tripping Smooth Powder in Rich Tan. And I think I've almost finished this. It's on its last legs, definitely. And I would like Uoma to release more shades of this. I do believe that the shade range can be better, but for this one, it works really well. I would use it all over my face. It is very, very mattifying, and I mean it. Like, if you suffer from dry skin, use this sparingly and make sure that you use a hydrating foundation, hydrating primer, because this will definitely dry out your skin. So only use it sparingly. I kind of just use it to dust around my face and just make sure that my face is nice and matte. I've got oily combination skin, so you know it works for me, but if you've got dry skin, just be careful. A powder that I'm still not sure if I'm gonna keep or just let it go is the Lock-It powder from Kat Von D. This is a setting powder, and I've used this twice already, and both times I hated the finish. I love the packaging. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. You get quite a lot of product in there. This is the translucent version. But I just don't like the finish of it. I don't like how it makes me look old underneath the eye. I almost feel like it cakes underneath the eye. It doesn't set, doesn't give them that smooth set. So, and I've tried using it all over my face as well. It just feels like it skips, which is not really what I'm looking for in a powder. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that, but I do want to test it out some more. And then I've got the Revolution CC Perfecting powder. This is in shade Deep, so I like to keep this one for when I get darker. In the summer months, I never get this dark, but sometimes, you know, I want to use it to kind of bronze or contour my face. So I keep this one. And then the one that I actually use is Warm Golden, which is pretty much done. So I do have another one somewhere, which probably is in my handbag, but I do like to keep these two. I constantly say that they remind me of the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. I feel like they're an affordable version of the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. So if you can't afford that, I would definitely recommend that from Revolution Pro. And then I've got these two from the Beauty Crop, which again, when they came out, they were fantastic. I did like them. I did do a review. And these are the two shades I decided to keep from the entire range. I've got Medium 3 and Deep 4. Medium 3 I like to use to set underneath my eye. Deep 4 I like to dust around my face just to give me that mattifying finish. Not the biggest fan of the color, however, the consistency and the formula, it works, so I like to keep it in my collection, and I do use it sometimes. This one I use sparingly, so I don't even know why I'm still keeping it in my collection. This is the translucent loose setting powder, but the glow version from Mercier, and it gives you like that glow look underneath, I mean on your face, underneath the eye. So I don't use it as much because I really don't like the kind of glowed up effect. Don't know if that's picking up in the light. I don't really like it, but I know some people do. So I'm still trying to work out how best to use this. Hence why I've just kind of kept it in there. So yeah, that's all my powders. Let me chuck it all back and, you know, share my final thoughts. And that is it, you guys. So that's my base declutter video and collection. So I showed you my foundations, my primers, my powders, my concealers. I'm gearing up to do my perfume collection. I'm not gonna do a lipstick declutter this time because over the past couple of months I've been decluttering my lipsticks and going through them more often, like I like to do anyway, but I've just been doing it off camera because it's as and when I use products or I've got some time to really go through the collection, because I have such an extensive range of lip products. So I'm not going to be recording a video of that one. Once I've done the perfume collection, that's pretty much going to be it. And then we're completely done and we can focus on creating content for 2023, which I'm really, really excited for. But yeah, let me know if there's any other thing you want to see. There isn't anything else that I've got to show you, but let me know what your thoughts are. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification bell so you know when next I release a video. And remember, God doesn't like ugly, and be nice to someone today, and I'll catch you in the future one. Bye.